You will soon reel under this blowing sand." Spellbound by what he saw, Pilgrim did not notice that some sand and dust flew into his nose until the itch made him sneeze a couple of times. He turned and picked up from beneath the ledge 2 small pebbles, which he used to stop up his nostrils. Shaking his body once, he changed into a sparrowhawk able to penetrate fire. He flew right into the smoke and flame, but all of a sudden, the sand and dust vanished, and even the smoke and fire subsided. Quickly he changed back into his true form and dropped down from the air. As he looked about, there came to his ears the loud clanging of a brass gong. "I must have taken the wrong road," he thought to himself. "This can't be where the monster spirit lives. The gong sounds like one of those belonging to a postal soldier. This must be a state highway, and some postal soldier is on his way to deliver a document. Let Old Monkey go and question him a bit." As he walked along, he saw a little fiend with a yellow banner on his shoulder and an official document bag on his back. Banging aloud the gong, the fiend was running swiftly toward him. "So this is the fellow who's beating the gong," said Pilgrim, laughing. "I wonder what sort of document he's carrying. Let me eavesdrop on him. Dear great sage." With a shake of his body, he changed into a midge and gently alighted on the fiend's document bag. All he heard was the monster spirit banging the gong and mumbling to himself. "Our great king is quite vicious. 3 years ago, he abducted the Golden Sage Queen from the Scarlet Purple Kingdom, but he didn't have the affinity even to touch her. Only those palace maidens brought here as substitutes were the ones who suffered. 2 of them came, and they were driven to death. Then 4 arrived, and they, too, were driven to death. Year before last, he wanted the maidens. Last year, he wanted more. This year, he wanted more. And even now, he still wants some more. But he has run into an adversary, for that vanguard sent to make demands for the palace maidens has been defeated by some pilgrim son. Angered by this, our great king wanted to go into war with that kingdom, and asked me to send them some declaration of war. Once I deliver this document, that king had better decide not to fight, for any war would only go against him. When our great king uses his smoke, fire, and flying sand, none of them, the king and his subjects, can ever hope to remain alive. We will certainly occupy their city. Our great king will become emperor, and we will become his officials. High or low, we will have some appointments or ranks, but I fear that our action would be intolerable to heaven." When Pilgrim heard this, he was secretly delighted. Even a monster spirit, he thought to himself, can have good intentions. Just listen to what he has said about how their action would be intolerable to heaven. Isn't he a good man? But concerning the Golden Sage Queen, I don't quite understand what he means by the Fiend King not having affinity to touch her body. Let me question him a bit. With a buzz, he flew away from the monster spirit and darted ahead for several miles. A shake of his body changed him into a little Taoist lad. His head had 2 tufts of hair. He wore a patched cleric robe, tapping a wooden fish drum. A Taoist hymn he hummed. Rounding the mountain slope, he met the little fiend and saluted him with hand upraised, saying, "Officer, where are you going? What's the document you are delivering?" Behaving as if he knew his interrogator, the fiendish creature stopped his gong and, giggling loudly, returned the greeting. "Our great king," said he, "has sent me to deliver a declaration of war to the Scarlet Purple Kingdom." "Has that someone from the Scarlet Purple Kingdom?" continued Pilgrim. "Mated with the great king, almost immediately after she had been abducted," replied the little fiend. An immortal presented to her as a gift a 5-colored divine robe. Once she had put it on, however, needle-like prickles sprouted all over her body. Our great king didn't even dare to give her the slightest touch, for the merest contact would inflict terrific pain on his hand. We don't know how those prickles grew, but that's the reason for his not claiming her body from the beginning until now. Earlier this morning, he sent his vanguard to demand 2 palace maidens for his service, but the vanguard was defeated by one so-called Pilgrim son. Our great king was angered, and that was why he sent me to deliver a declaration of war. He is going to do battle with him tomorrow." "Is the great king still angry?" asked Pilgrim. "Indeed he is," replied the little fiend. "You should go cheer him up with a Taoist song or two." Dear Pilgrim. After a bow with hands folded, he turned and walked away, while the fiend struck up his gong and journeyed as before. Unleashing his violence all at once, Pilgrim whipped out his rod, turned around again, and delivered a blow on the back of the little fiend's head. Alas! This one blow made the head shatter, the blood flow, the brains burst out, the skin rift, the neck split, and his life expire. As he put away the rod, he was smitten with regret, saying to himself, "I'm a little too impatient. I hadn't even asked his name. Oh, all right." He took down the declaration of war document to put in his own sleeve. The yellow banner and the brass gong were stuffed into the grass by the road. As he picked up the fiend by the legs and was about to throw him into the brook, a gold-plated nameplate dropped down from his waist with a clang. On the plate was the following inscription: "One trusted junior officer by the name of Going and Coming. Rather short, pimply face, beardless. To be worn at all times. The person without this plate is an imposter. So this fellow has the name of Going and Coming," chuckled Pilgrim. "But my rod has rendered him going without coming." He took down the nameplate and attached it to his waist. He was about to throw away the corpse when the thought of the threat of smoke and fire stopped him from searching further for the cave dwelling. Raising his rod instead, he punched it through the chest of the little fiend, toted the corpse to rise to the air, and went back to the kingdom to annota his first merit. Look at him. Thinking and wondering to himself, he soon arrived at the capital. Before the Hall of Golden Chimes, our 8 Rules was standing guard over the king and his master, when all of a sudden he saw Pilgrim approaching in midair and toting a monster spirit. "Ah, this fribble business," he muttered to himself. "If I had known it earlier, Old Hog would have gone to arrest the fiend. That would have been counted as my merit, wouldn't it?" Hardly had he finished speaking when Pilgrim lowered his cloud and threw the monster spirit before the steps. Dashing up to the corpse, 8 Rules gave him a blow with his rake, crying, "This is the merit of Old Hog." "What merit of yours is that?" asked Pilgrim. "Don't cheat me out of it," replied 8 Rules. "I have evidence here. Aren't those 9 holes made by the rake? Take another look," said Pilgrim, "and see if he has a head or not." "So, he's headless," said 8 Rules, chuckling. "I was wondering why he didn't move at all when I struck him with my rake." "Where's Master?" asked Pilgrim, and 8 Rules said, "Talking with the king in the hall." "Go and ask him to come out," said Pilgrim. 8 Rules ran up to the hall and nodded his head, whereupon Tripitaka rose and descended the hall to meet Pilgrim. Pilgrim took out the declaration of war and stuffed it into the sleeve of Tripitaka, saying, "Put it away, master, and don't let the king see this." As they were speaking, the king also came down the hall and met Pilgrim. "Divine monk, you've returned," he said. "How did the matter of arresting the fiend go?" Pointing with his finger, Pilgrim said, "Isn't that a monster spirit who has been slain by Old Monkey?" The king took one look and said, "It is the corpse of a fiend, but he's no Jupiter's rival, whom we have seen twice with our own eyes. The archfiend is 18 feet tall, and his shoulders are 5 times as wide as other men's. His face resembles a golden beam, and his voice is like thunder. He is no vulgar-looking midget like this one." Smiling, Pilgrim said, "Your Majesty, you are perceptive, for this is indeed no Jupiter's rival, but only a little fiend serving as a messenger, who ran into Old Monkey. I slew him and toted him back to announce my merit." "Fine. Fine. Fine," said the king, highly pleased. "This should be considered your first merit. We have often sent our people out there to gather intelligence, but we have never managed to turn up anything substantial. The moment the divine monk goes forth, he's able to bring back a captive. That's true magic power. Then he called out, "Warm up the wine, so that we may congratulate the elder for his merit." "Drinking wine is a trivial matter," said Pilgrim. "Let me ask your majesty, did the Golden Sage Palace leave you any memento when she departed? If she did, give it to me." When the king heard him mention the word memento, he felt as if a sword had run his heart through, and he wept aloud, saying, "When we toasted brightness and warmth that year, the vicious Jupiter uttered his cries. He took by force our queen to be his wife. We yielded her up for the people's sake. There were no words of greeting or farewell. No tender partings by the wayside stands. Mementos, scented purse, everything is gone. Except myself, all bitter and forlorn. Your Majesty," said Pilgrim, "your pain is near its end. Why torture yourself like that? If Our Lady did not leave you any memento, are there objects in the palace that she is most fond of? Give me one of these." "Why do you want them?" asked the king. Pilgrim said, "That fiend king does have magic powers. When I saw the smoke, the fire, and the sand he released, I knew it would be difficult to bring him to submission. Even if I were to succeed, I fear that Our Lady would refuse to accompany me, a stranger, to return to the kingdom.